Unscripted, unfiltered, unafraid. Welcome to the Macworld Podcast. My name is Michael Simon, and I am joined once again by my colleague, Jason Cross.
Good morning.
And our producer, Roman Loyola.
Oh, hi there.
This is episode number 991. And today we're going to talk about chips. You know, I like
Doritos.
Yeah. So I wrote a bad joke here, and I'm gonna blame Roman for that. I've actually been listening to some of the older shows that we recorded because we're preparing for our 1,000th episode in 9 episodes, and some of his dad joke persona snuck into my subconscious. So I did have a bad joke that Jason beat me to, which is fine because I didn't want to say it, but I did write it.
I'll wear the dad joke mantle.
But we are going to talk about chips. Apple's chips, M5, M6, M7, A20 Pro, maybe the S12. You know, all the stuff that's coming out. The roadmap is kind of funky with all the AI things and all the supply chain stuff, and there's just a ton of interesting stuff that's come out lately. So we're going to talk about all that. Then we'll do This Week in Apple History and close, as always, with our comment corner. Speaking of comments, you can contact us through Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads. Search for Macworld, look for the Blue Mouse logo. Send an email to podcast@macworld.com. Send us a personal email, comment under a video, comment under a post. Let us know what you think, and we'll talk about one of. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead in my mind, and I'm trying to read at the same time. We will discuss them on a future show. You know how comments work.
Yeah.
All right. So before the chip stuff, last Friday, like the tail end of our day last Friday, like 4:58 Eastern time or something, Apple filed a lawsuit against OpenAI, which is not uncommon.
Just after the markets closed on Friday. That's how this works.
That's right. So it doesn't affect the stock price until Monday. You know, it's not uncommon for Apple to sue people or get sued. Like it's just a ho hum. You know, okay, great. But this one was super interesting. So they filed a lawsuit against OpenAI, and specifically a couple of employees that work there, including somebody named Tang Tan, who was an Apple employee for like 25 years. And I'm just going to run down a couple of the things because something like 400 people have left Apple to go to OpenAI. But this guy seems to have been particularly insane.
He was the VP of product design. So he was responsible for the design of a number of major Apple products.
Yeah, so he was a big name, not just some low-level guy that left. I'm just going to hit on a couple of the points because, like I said, like he seems to be particularly crazy. So for one, he kept his Apple issue. These are all alleged by Apple. You know,
this is what Apple says in their suit. This is not OpenAI's response. This is not what the court has found. Discovery hasn't happened. This is Apple's suit filing. So
allegedly, he kept his Apple issued laptop, which presumably a MacBook Pro or something. Mm-hmm. 2, he discovered a bug within that laptop that let him log on to Apple's private servers from OpenAI. 3, he downloaded a bunch of stuff from those servers onto his laptop, like design files and engineering files. Then he would have Apple employees come to interview for OpenAI and be like, "Hey, tell me what you're working on. Bring me some stuff." Not
just tell me what you're working on, bring an offering of data.
Yeah, it just seems to me like it's insane, right? Like, how do you, assuming this is true, which I have to assume at least 95% of it is because Apple wouldn't, Apple is exposing itself
Apple
here.
Will have logs. Apple will have network logs showing all the login and transfer. This seems like the kind of thing you can easily have evidence of.
Yeah, but this guy, it's insane. Like, how could you do this stuff? I work for a tiny little company, and I wouldn't do anything. Like I would be worried about my small little company and whatever.
Your new company isn't paying you an insane amount of money,
but that's the more reason to not do it.
to like, and you need a success. It's worth pointing out as we talk about this that OpenAI, who's famous for ChatGPT, I think they shut down Sora, right? The little video thing. They're working on at least one hardware product,
right? With Johnny Ive, who appears to not have anything to do with this.
That's sort of a separate thing. They're working on at least one hardware product it's an AI interface thing, and it's a gadget that consumers will buy. It's not some enterprise whatever. Yes, they're contracting with Johnny Ive's company. Johnny Ive's not an OpenAI employee or anything like that. His design company is being contracted for this, and apparently doesn't really have anything. He's not named.
He's not named or anything. That would be the craziest thing ever if Johnny Ive was using Apple.
But that's what really all of this is about. It's not about AI code or anything like that or anything. It's about physical product design and engineering stuff. They have a big team working on a bunch of stuff. That's what this Tang guy does. They hired him from Apple to make an Apple quality product.
He's obviously not very good at it if he has to rely on what they're doing when he's not there.
Or it could just be stuff he did while he was there that he has no right to own and he wants to grab,
Sure.
All that stuff's owned by Apple, right? So it's crazy. There's a couple other people named in the suit. Plus, they're just suing OpenAI as a company, saying that all these people they poached from Apple. Normally, when you hire somebody who works at another company, they get walked out of the company, right? They're like, "We're cutting off your access." Okay, we're cutting off your access, and security will escort you out. They coached them. This is Apple's alleging. They coached them how to say you're leaving and give your notice, and then you'll stay on for a week and all this so that you can download data and sneak it out for us. And, they did apparently coach them how to leave the company in a way where you will stay on for a week or so and not get escorted out and be able to slurp up a bunch of data and bring it to OpenAI, which, if they have any evidence of that, that's,
it's crazy. This could, maybe I'm naive, but this could probably, maybe destroy is the wrong word, but certainly wreck their public reputation. If this is, assuming this goes to trial and assuming some of these things are proven, man, so I was thinking, imagine Steve Jobs was CEO, he would have burnt down their building by now. He was, Tim Cook is a fairly measured person, and this lawsuit is explosive.
Yeah, and apparently they've been building this for a while. Yeah. They say they contacted them privately months ago saying, "Hey, we have all this stuff. We know you're doing this. You need to stop it." And they just ignored them. The OpenAI wants to go public.
Right.
And with this law, these lawsuits take forever. And especially since Apple wants a jury trial. They don't want an arbitration or anything like that. They want an actual jury trial. So this could take forever.
Yeah.
But this is going to ruin OpenAI's IPO because if Apple has a good, strong case here, then this could destroy the company.
It could, right?
They're already drowning in debt. The whole point of the IPO if you're OpenAI is to raise a ton of public capital because they're bleeding through billions like crazy, but they're a big brand and they're a big name and they have really good AI tech, right? So wouldn't it be weird if the way this all shook out is that this damages the value of OpenAI so much that Apple buys them,
right?
And just that would be wild.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, even if they buy them just to not have them be a competitor. They don't have to use any of their stuff, but just get it.
Yeah, that would be way too expensive right now. But if this suit starts going the wrong way, and all of a sudden OpenAI is only worth $40 billion or something like that, that's a big purchase for Apple, but not for what they would be getting.
Right. Yeah, it's and I don't know what I'm not a lawyer. I should call my brother. He's a lawyer. I don't know what that means for this guy. Well, there's a couple people named, like specifically named in the suit. Like, would they? I assume they go to jail for a bunch of years, right? Or they have to pay a hefty fine or something. I don't know. It
depends. This is a civil suit. They're not
being criminal. Yeah, it's true.
They're not being charged with a crime, but they can be referred to a criminal. The court can refer them for criminal charges.
Right.
Then the DA has to decide if they want to press charges and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to lose his job. He's going to lose a ton of money.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, there's a bunch of things. If
future earnings potential has taken a dip.
If the court finds it really in Apple's favor and finds that these things are true, then yeah, this guy's life is ruined.
Yeah, I mean,
but he doesn't
just
necessarily
seems
go to jail.
Right.
The big money will come from OpenAI, the company getting sued for some portion of its.
And OpenAI issued a statement. We have no interest in other companies' trade secrets. We remain focused on building innovative technology that empowers people everywhere. Like, that's the quote. Like, that's not a quote that you say when someone says that you basically broke into their servers and stole a bunch of stuff.
Well, they just dropped a tweet, like their PR person dropped a tweet instead of like issuing a proper press release response and all that stuff. It was really
nonchalant.
These AI companies everything they do is just like, well, go, just do it.
Yeah,
just go fast. We have to, the only thing that matters is that we go faster, do more, build faster, get bigger.
Right.
We have to get to too big to fail as fast as possible. Right. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to quite get there. They seem to be failing.
The issue with all this AI stuff is there's no moat for anybody. There's four or five main sort of companies all building this stuff. And there's nothing to stop anybody from going like, I'm just going to quit my contract with these guys or my subscription or whatever and do the other one, right? Because they're all kind of building the same stuff, right? So they're competing on quality, which is great, but right now they're all losing money hand over fist,
right?
Trying to snap up consumers, and yeah, it's crazy. These lawsuits, especially when there's a jury trial, how long did it take the Epic versus Apple stuff take? And it's still got like
5 or 6
echoes going on. So, don't expect this to be done this year. Don't expect it to be done next year.
That suit is a little bit different in the sense that you're like, people have like, that's two sides have their opinion on how business.
Yeah, that's a major antitrust thing.
Right. Even like the Samsung one, like it's like, well, Samsung copied what was public. This is like, dude, you broke into our servers, you stole a bunch of stuff, you coerced people to bring things out of our offices. Like, it seems like it's like open and shut.
This is a very, it's less of a, like, how do you interpret this law?
Right.
This is like, we have evidence of your theft.
Yeah.
You would think, like, if they have that evidence, they better have that evidence. So if they've got that evidence, this could be, but who knows what the damages are going to be. That's Apple's game here is to, the thing that might happen most soon about this is that Apple may successfully be able to get an injunction to prevent OpenAI from releasing their hardware product until this case is settled, that it is built on stolen technology and stuff like that. So I don't know that they've filed one.
Right.
That's not part of the news yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if this year they file. They're probably waiting for the moment OpenAI announces it, and then they're going to file an injunction saying, like, the court needs to stop them from selling this. It's built on all our stolen technology, and we have a pending suit, right? So, yeah, it's going to be such a mess.
Yeah, but it's exciting because you rarely see like lawsuits like this.
And then to make the drama even better, like, OpenAI is Apple's partner in Apple Intelligence. Like, since iOS 18, they've had a built in the settings in iOS. You can flick a switch and say like, oh, if Apple Intelligence can't handle this, ask ChatGPT. Like, right. And you can log in your thing, and it's built in. It's so built in that all the other AI companies complained.
Right. They don't
hey, how come I'm not built in?
Right. Is that's still the case in iOS 27, right? Like even with Siri AI, like you can still
I do believe that's.
I think you can change the
in there, but it works differently. And Siri AI is good enough that I've never had it go like asking ChatGPT.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
but
maybe it's not.
Do that.
Maybe it's not part of that anymore.
No, it is. It's under. There's a new heading called extension now.
Oh, okay.
And you can. Oh, I have it. I don't have it enabled. Is why it defaults to being off. But yeah, you use extension, and right now the only extension is ChatGPT. But it's because it's now under this like extension menu. Mm-hmm. That's what's giving everyone evidence that they're going to allow you
like
to
Gemini
add
and
other things as extensions if you want.
Okay.
But yeah, to that point, it's still the only one in there, and it comes in iOS by default. You can just turn it on. You can log in your account if you have an account. I mean, so what's going to happen with that?
Yeah, it's so stay tuned. It's going to be I really hope this goes to trial because it's going to be fascinating to hear like the ins and outs and the details of this thing. And plus Apple is this massive company. Like it used to be where you sued Apple and they were in danger of going bankrupt. Now they're like, well, whatever. We have hundreds of billions of dollars to go after you. We don't care. It's a cautionary tale, I suppose.
People commit these crimes not thinking they'll get caught.
If you're logging into Apple's private servers from OpenAI, how do you not get caught? It's a tech company. Like someone's going to see that.
You would think, yeah.
Like
if you're transferring data,
it's like, wait, why is this? Why are there hundreds of gigs of files being downloaded to a different location? Like, no, someone's going to notice that. Okay, so as everyone knows by now, it's funny. A couple of weeks ago, Apple raised prices on everything, and it's like 3 weeks later, and we're like, so these are the prices now. Like, this is how things become normalized. So everything costs more. Macs cost more. iPads cost more. Yeah. The only thing that doesn't cost more is iPhones and Apple Watch.
Yeah, the big one, iPhones, didn't get a price hike, and we all know that means
it's coming.
That
checks in the mail.
Yeah, they're just not going to raise prices on existing iPhones. The new iPhones will have a higher price tag. There's no way, right?
Yeah. So the reason why all that stuff was raised is because of the price of memory, but it's more integrated into the whole development of Apple's chips, because Apple's chips have unified memory, which is built into the chip, and it's a whole thing. So it's all part of the supply chain of memory is all part of chip development. So what we were expecting was that later this year we would get the M6 Pro and the M6 Max chips, which is kind of how Apple has done it. Back in 2020, we got the M1. Then 2021, we got the Pro and the Max. 2022, we got the M2, then the Pro and the Max. Like they've kind of done this on an annual cadence. And we just got the M5 Pro and M5 Max back in March in the MacBook Pro. And we were expecting the M5 Ultra and the Mac Studio would arrive shortly thereafter. It hasn't yet. And now that Apple has kind of signaled that there are issues. Prices went up. Prices on high-end RAM and storage went up even more. They cut off some of the configurations because they just can't fulfill these orders. Some models, if you try to buy them, you're not getting them till like September and October. Like, it's a mess. Mark Gurman, who's plugged into all this stuff at Apple, he came out with the report, I think last month, and then he added a few more details the other day. And so in the fall, we allegedly will get the M6. However, the M6 Pro and the M6 Max are basically cut from the schedule. Like, it's just going to be the M6.
Normally, we would see those in the spring.
Right.
That's what this year we got the M5 Pro and Max in the spring, regular M5 last fall. Yeah, they're changing up the schedule. They're changing up the schedule for everything.
Yeah, for everything. So the M5 Pro and M5 Max MacBook Pro that came out in March could theoretically be on shelves for like a year and a half to 2 years, rather than the normal 12-month cycle.
Yeah, like a year and a half. The report is that partly because of the sort of RAM crunch and all that other stuff, but also they want to accelerate the release of M7 because it will have better AI performance, like significantly better AI performance. That instead of the old schedule being M6 this fall, M6 Pro and Max in the spring, M7 next fall, M7 Pro next spring, Ultras another 6 months after the Pro Max.
Right.
They're going to do just M6 this fall. When they release the touchscreen, the new touchscreen MacBook Pros and stuff like that, they're going to build those on the old M5 Pro.
That's what the reports are, yeah.
And they're going to release the M7 in the spring instead of next fall. They're pulling it up by 6 months. And then next fall is going to be the M7 Pro and Max. So everything's getting, the whole M7 generation is getting pulled 6 months closer, you know. And then there's going to be an M7 Ultra in 2028. That's for like Mac Studio and all that stuff, but they're going to be skipping M6 Ultra. So yeah, an M7 Ultra is supposed to be like a really, 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 really great chip for AI and stuff.
Yeah, like Neural Engine and stuff, yeah.
Neural Engine, great GPU, like just a huge amount of up to a huge amount of RAM and stuff. And that's intended to be not just for Mac Studios and Mac Pro, but to power some of Apple's servers, like AI servers.
Right.
That's the game. So yeah, so it's kind of exciting that M7's all being pulled in 6 months. That whole cadence is being pulled up 6 months. But it also makes you go, well, gosh, I don't want to buy a Mac this year. Like, why would I buy an M6 MacBook Pro or MacBook Air or something this fall if the M7 6 months it's coming right up? Like,
yeah, it makes me wonder. Like maybe so yeah, if we get the M6 MacBook Pro and MacBook Air or whatever this fall in 6 months, like the report was confusing to me because. Like I understand the shifting of priorities. I understand how, first of all, RAM has upended everything. Two, the AI push, it's not going away. Like Apple showed with iOS 27, macOS, like they're gonna play ball, and they have to get these things developed at a quicker pace. They have to get them out there. And but yeah, what I don't understand is how releasing the M6, like why not? Here's a philosophical question for you, Jason. Okay. Why not just skip the M6 completely?
Right.
And rename the M7 M6 and have that be the AI chip.
Just wait. Just wait 6 months.
Right,
yeah.
Just wait.
Just stick with all these M5 products for another 6 months. Call the what they're gonna call the M6, call it M7. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Like why even release just an M6 that gets replaced 6 months later
for no reason? Yeah, when the M5 is perfectly fine. It's a very, very good chip. Everything's fast. No one's complaining about it. If it was on shelves for the rest of the year, it's totally cool.
Yeah, and it's not like M6 will be better, but it's not like it's the products that goes into. It's not like that's
right.
The bread and butter. It's not like, well, it's iPhone. We've got to get an iPhone out every year. We can't just wait 6 months to release new iPhones. It's not that. It's MacBooks. They'd be okay. They'd sell a few less MacBooks just hanging on the M5 generation, but then the next generation will be there so much sooner. Right. So, I mean, I know they've already developed the M6. The chip development takes years. They're getting test silicon back 6 months to a year before the products hit the market, and stuff. So they've got M6 chips in computers in Cupertino, testing them out and built into they're already on test runs. They're like, it's gone. So it is kind of throwing out a lot of work and a lot of time and stuff like that. But at the same point, as you said, why do it for 6 months?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's supposed to know, of course. They spoiled the thing. The M6 is supposed to come out, and we're all just supposed to be like, this is the hot new thing for the next year. And,
Yeah, and it could be that Gurman's timeline is slightly off, and it's not 6 months; it's like 10 months, and it's close.
And they change their mind. Things change.
Sure.
Yeah.
Things change. But the bigger one, you talked about it a couple minutes ago, that we are expecting a touchscreen MacBook Pro this year. Still.
Yeah, late this year or early next year.
Right.
It moves around.
Yeah, so I hope the RAM doesn't screw with that, because I'm very interested to see it. But supposedly that was going to have an M6 Pro, M6 Max. It's a higher end, which I don't quite understand. We talked about this on an episode like 6 months ago. I don't quite understand why they're gearing this at Pro users and not lower level. Like, I think the MacBook Air makes more sense as a touchscreen device than a MacBook Pro 16-inch.
Yeah, I get that touchscreens cost more, but it's not that much more. And it just seems they're aiming at
the wrong audience, it seems. Yeah. But aside from that,
MacBook Neo should be the touch computer.
Right.
Like, come on. Right.
That's the one. Yeah. Charge $899 and you'd sell 1 million of them. But yeah.
Right.
So that was supposed to get M6 Pro, M6 Max chips. That was the original rumor. And now that's supposed to get the same Pro and Max chips that are currently in the non-touchscreen MacBook Pros that came out a couple of weeks ago. I don't think that will affect any interest or purchasing. I mean, they're still good chips, and I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah. What people care about, like a laptop's like a whole thing. It's not just it's the battery, it's the design. These are supposed to get a new design for the first time in a gajillion years.
Yeah, well, the touchscreen has to, I guess, right? Well, I would assume. Maybe not.
The screen itself does, but I mean the whole body. The whole body is supposed to have a new design for the first time. Who knows what new design means, but it's a new design for the first time in a million years. Yeah. It's supposed to have dynamic island. It's got a whole new OLED display or tandem OLED display and touchscreen and all these things, right? So there's a million reasons why you may want one that doesn't have anything to do with the M chip in it.
Right.
And that's fine. And those will hang around for a year, because the M7 Pro and Max, because they're skipping the 6, isn't supposed to come out till next fall. So those will be around for a while. It's the base level M6 MacBook Pro and Air and I guess Mac Mini that will only be around for 6 months before they get it.
Yeah, will the Air get? So the Air came out.
Yeah, it's true. Will they even do that?
Right. The M5 MacBook Pro came out last October. The M5 MacBook Air just came out in March. If they come out with an Air in November and then a Pro, I swear they're just painting themselves into all sorts of corners. The numbers are the biggest problem. Intel had it right. They would just randomly assign numbers to things, so there wasn't any chronologicalness to it. So now you're going to get an M5 Pro, M5 Max. Say the laptop costs $3,000, which it very well may.
Yeah.
And alongside that, you're going to get an M6 MacBook Pro that costs $2,000, and obviously, the M5 Pro
starting at $1,899 or something like that, with no touchscreen, anything, and no redesign.
But with the higher number chip, which obviously the M5 Pro is faster than the M6, but that's a whole nother thing that you got to explain. And it's just, I don't know, the numbering.
The whole thing seems weird to me.
And we've kind of been spoiled a little bit by Apple's cadence. Like, they've been, since the M series chips came out, really since the A series chips came out. They've been solid. Every 12 to 14 months, we get a new one.
Right.
And,
they've been on basically the iPhone schedule. The early days of the M series, the schedule was a little weird, but they really kind of fell into a cadence after they got it all working. This isn't the only thing they're all mixing up too. The whole Apple calendar has been pretty steady for a while. And this year, the regular iPhone, the iPhone, no Air, no Pro, no nothing, just iPhone.
The one everybody buys,
coming out,
or a lot of people buy. Yeah,
yeah. The biggest seller. Like, it's not coming out till next year.
Right.
That's new. So now, like, the only new iPhones on sale are going to be like really expensive. They're going to be Pros and the big folding Ultra thing. And maybe the Air might be next spring, but like everything's going to be like the cheapest new iPhone you're going to be able to get is at least $1,000, but probably more, probably more than that, because everything's going up. Yeah.
And I tell you, there's about 80% of the iPhone buying population that are going to be like, what the hell? Why can't I buy my new phone that I've been waiting to buy? Where is it? Because people don't follow rumors like we do. Most people don't.
Right.
And, you know, the iPhone 17 was a huge seller. People who have an iPhone 14 are going to be like, oh, I want the 18. And well, where is it?
I wonder.
Apple can't explain like, oh, don't worry, it's coming out in 6 months. Right?
I wonder about that because I think that's true that people just don't pay that much attention to all these rumors and all this. But I also don't think people don't pay that much attention to like what number iPhone they have or anything.
But when one doesn't come out, they will.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking about like my neighbors, my parents, stuff like that. They have a 4-year-old phone. It's time for a new phone. They go to the store and they just get the latest iPhone, and they don't know that iPhone 17 has been out for a year and there's supposed to be an iPhone 18 by now. Where is it? Like, I don't think they know that. I think they just go like, oh, this is the latest iPhone, and they get that.
Maybe
they're happy with it.
So you're saying that Apple will sell a bunch more 17s in the fall, like the holiday shopping season?
Not more than they otherwise would, but I think this will be great for Apple's sort of bottom line because
the average selling price is going to go way higher.
Yeah, the average selling price is going to go up. All the advertising is going to be for these pros, and the new folding phone is going to sell a lot at first, at least. You know, there's a lot of sort of pent up demand for folding iPhones among people who are willing to spend $2,000 on a phone. So yeah, I mean, they're going to have a very good quarter economically, but I just wonder if among the 70 million iPhones that sell every, quarter or whatever, I wonder how many of those people just really are like dialed in on what number iPhone is this? What year is it? Is this the latest one? I think they just go to the store and get like the latest iPhone.
You're going to see iPhone 18 Pro. And then you're going to see iPhone 17. Like, you don't have to be a whiz to see that those are different.
I mean, obviously, but if you're rocking an iPhone 14, you're really just looking at the price and going like, oh, that's a new iPhone and it's $800 and whatever. And okay, I'll get that. So I wonder how much it'll hurt. Yeah, we'll see. But
I don't think it's going to hurt in the sense that sales are going to drop. I think it's going to hurt in the sense that people are going to be confused as to for the last 17 years or 18 years, a new iPhone has come out every single September and now it's not. Yeah. And I don't think Apple's going to address that.
Except for the E model. Like you would go in, like when the iPhone 17 came out and the 17 Pro and the 16E. Like that's what was on shelves, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, but it's not the iPhone, the core model. So,
all right, Roman, I'm going to blame you for us getting off of chips as well.
We were supposed to talk about chips. We kind of talked about chips. We've been talking about iPhone. Let's talk about A20.
Yeah, with the iPhone talk. So the A20 is the next chip. So based on what we know or what we think we know, the A20 Pro is going to come out in the fall, and the A20 won't come out until next March or April.
That seems likely. It doesn't. It seems like if the iPhone Air 2 comes out, and possibly whatever the iPhone Ultra is, that they'll do what they did last time, which is to have a version of the Pro, whatever Pro, that just has like a GPU core disabled or something to keep the power and thermals in check and on these super, super thin phones. So I think you'll get the Pro version of the chip only
in the fall.
In the fall, and it'll be the spring before we get a regular A20.
A regular A20, which is different. I mean, they've never, as far as I can remember, they've never done that before. They never split up the A series chips before like that.
Right. Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah.
Because they never split the iPhones that way.
Right. You'll get a pretty good idea of like what the A20 is going to be based on the A20 Pro. But
yeah.
So you want to talk a little bit, what do we expect from the A20 Pro? You wrote an article about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago that kind of gave like a preview of the speeds and the GPU and the cores.
Yeah, that was just taking the trend of all the recent. Right. It's amazing how when you map out the last, I don't know, 8 years of iPhone chips, the improvement in CPU performance is super steady. It's like an escalator. Straight line.
Really,
there's not incredible. A lot of variance year to year. It's really impressive. So, like, if somebody said, "Well, the CPU will be like, I don't know, what is the average 16% faster?" Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. It'd be so weird if it was. I think from a marketing standpoint, they're going to go with this ultra core thing, where they call the performance cores
super core.
Sorry, super core. where they call the performance cores super cores. They just renamed it. I expect that, right? That's happening. They did that on the M series, but they're going to bring that to the,
I would assume,
Pro A series chips. It's not a change in the chip. It's literally a change in the name. They just changed the name of
the efficiency cores are performance cores, and the super cores are performance cores.
What were performance cores? Yeah, and they even admitted that because they changed an existing chip that they had already sold as performance cores and started calling them super cores. So there'll be that. It'll be 15-20%. The where it gets weird is like the GPU, the graphics performance and compute performance of the GPU varies a fair amount from year to year. Some years you get a big jump. Some years it's 15%. Sometimes it's like other years it's like 30%. They add a bunch of new features, a lot more memory bandwidth, whatever. I would expect that it probably will get a good boost because the GPU is used a lot in a lot of AI stuff. And just from an architectural standpoint, people aren't training AIs on their phones, but this architecture is used throughout the M series and stuff. So I think it's going to be, there's for the neural engine, for the series stuff, for everything else, they need a lot of memory bandwidth, and memory bandwidth helps graphics performance a lot. So I think the GPU will get a lot better, and there's definitely going to be a much better neural engine performance.
Right.
Like, that's the thing that runs all the models after they're trained and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
the most efficiently.
Quick aside. It was reported in that same Gurman report that the neural engine is like a direct descendant of the Project Titan Apple car. And that whole project was all AI and self-driving and whatever.
Yeah, that was reported years ago. He really brought that back. He brought that back around.
I don't remember that.
They talked about that back when they canceled the car project, and that was all. Which was 3 or 4 years ago. They're like, well, what did they get out of it? And they're like, well, the whole neural engine really sprung out of that, right?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, they did. They brought that all up. He brought that all back around. He's like, yeah, that's how we got a neural engine in iPhone X, right? They started building that into their chips and started doing all this research into NPUs, neural processing units, which Apple isn't the only one who makes. Other people make them, but that's how they started putting them in all their chips. They just built into the architecture. Let's just do this.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it. And like you said, AI is not going anywhere. They've known that AI is going to be a deep concern for a couple of years. These chips take a couple of years to design, but now we're in the point where, like, when they were designing A20 Pro, that was after ChatGPT was huge. There's a big push for Apple Intelligence, all this other stuff. They probably were like, AI performance needs to be our big thing. And that's probably what they're going to talk about more than anything when they announce this, and they talk about all the performance, and it's going to be on Pro phones and all this. So I think it will still have 12 gigs of RAM, just like the current A19 Pros do.
19, yeah.
It's supposed to have more memory bandwidth, like either with a shift to a wider memory bus or something like that. They're using a new packaging technology. Packaging is basically, the chip is a piece of silicon. So packaging is like, well, how do you get it onto connectors for all the wires on the motherboard and protect it on top and communicating with other chips and all that other stuff. It's a very advanced technology area of chip technology. Is like packaging technology. It matters a lot for a lot of things. The main difference in this packaging technology they're using now is that instead of the RAM being on top of the chip to save space, the RAM's going to be next to it, which they've been able to do for a long time. In fact, old chips used to do that, but it takes more space, but it used to be like kind of slower. It was harder to get a high-speed connection between the chip and the RAM chips and stuff. This will help them have that full speed, but have it off to the side like that. The practical application of how that helps you as a consumer is that when the RAM is not stacked on top of the CPU and GPU and all that other stuff, when it's off to the side, it's easier to cool all that, right?
Okay.
It's not, you're not loading all the hot chips on top of each other and trying to cool them with a small surface area. You have a bigger surface area and you're spreading out all the heat. That makes it easier to cool. So, the pros will probably have that same thermal solution that they had before, the vapor chamber cooling, maybe a new more advanced second generation vapor chamber. They'll make some marketing, whatever. But it will probably be able to keep its cool under like high power use a lot. And it'll probably help with the super, super thin phones, which their main problem is they get too hot.
Right. Is there anything graphically that Apple would need to do to the A20 Pro for the rumored folding phone, or does that really not have anything as far as like GPU power or efficiency or whatever else?
Well, the phone when unfolded will be that screen would be higher resolution, but the current A series chips can already easily handle that. For phone applications, right? For for high end 3D games at a higher resolution, you need more GPU power. They're going to have more GPU power, but that's not really the concern. And they also can already run kind of two screens at once, the inside and the outside screen. So there's nothing. I don't think there's anything special. There'll probably be some new display controller because the two screens and whatever, but nothing consumers care about.
Right. I have a question. I asked Roman to remind me, and I actually wrote it down myself, if you can believe it. So RAM is like a mess right now, and there's only a couple companies, SK Hynix, Samsung, Micron, that can deliver RAM. Is there a way that in the next 3 years, I don't know, 5 years, that Apple can make its own first-party RAM and cut off all of the suppliers that they need to buy from?
Realistically, no.
Okay.
They don't make any chips.
I know. Well, all right. Can they design their own to go with the...
Oh, the design's not the tricky part. The design, RAM is very commoditized. At elite weird HBM server chip stuff, there's some but the stuff that goes into your phone, LPDDR5X at these speeds or whatever, LPDDR6, it's fairly commoditized. They could easily design their own. It's manufacturing at scale. You have to manufacture in huge bulk. Apple has absolutely no experience really at all in running a chip
TSMC
fab.
couldn't do that for them?
Sure, they could. Why would they? TSMC probably does make a ton of RAM of certain kinds. HBM is the stuff that's worth more money to go into all these big server AI chips and stuff like that. But no, it's all the existing chip fabrication plants need to make more RAM. They can spring up new chips, new plants and stuff. But you're talking about Apple building a chip fabrication plant, which
so you're saying right now
takes 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
So you're saying that if Apple designed its own RAM, it wouldn't matter. It would still be just as expensive as it is buying it from.
Yeah. Someone's got to manufacture it, and that's the bottleneck that's making RAM expensive. Is that the demand is way higher than how much can be manufactured in the world.
I got it.
So we just need to build
Roman,
new
I told you
plants.
Jason would know the answer to that question. We talked about this 2 weeks when David was on the phone.
And there are new plants being built to expand RAM capacity and such, but it takes a long time to build a chip fabrication plant, man. it's not an empty warehouse. It's, there's water and electric supply lines and a bunch of very advanced machinery. And then just the people who need to work at it and run it have very specialized skills. And it takes years. Yeah.
We don't have any indication that Apple's doing that at all, right? Even for the existing chips.
No, what they're doing is they're investing in their partners who already manufacture chips to have them expand manufacturing in the US. They just announced that they were doing this with Broadcom. Broadcom makes radio chips. So Apple makes new modems. They make the N1 for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. They make the C1, but there's still a bunch of radio chips that are needed to control antennas and all this other kind of stuff. They get all those, they get a lot of that from Broadcom. They'll be buying billions of dollars worth of Broadcom stuff for years to come. And Broadcom has a chip manufacturing plant in Colorado, and Apple's helping invest in Broadcom to expand that plant to build more chips here. And they could do that kind of thing with RAM. Right. That's what would likely happen, is they would partner with Micron to expand RAM fabrication in the US or something.
Got it.
But they don't want to do that because they don't build their stuff in the US. They want the chip fabrication. They want RAM to be built in Taiwan where all their stuff is put together, or India. Sure. And for all we know, they're working on all that. They just haven't issued a press release yet. The lawyers haven't gotten done with all the legalese, and all the bean counters aren't done, but we'll see an announcement about expanding, more American chip manufacturing in the future from Apple, from an investment.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a plan in place. Maybe not in place, but there's the concepts of a plan, because they can't just raise prices every 6 months when things get out of hand.
That's the, and not just from Apple, the whole industry basically right now is scrambling.
Yeah.
It's in a weird place. The people who make RAM are really happy because they can charge a premium price they've never been able to charge, but everybody else is really mad at them and really needs them to manufacture more RAM. So there is an effort globally to manufacture more RAM, but building chip manufacturing plants takes time. So that's why everyone's it's going to be 2 years before we get any relief from this, because that's how long it takes to spin up new plants and get them running and get them scaled up to running smoothly at speed and all that other, cranking out millions and millions of chips every week. That kind of thing takes a lot of time.
Yep. All right.
It's going to get worse before it gets better, everybody.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Yeah. So we didn't get to the S12. We didn't get to HomePod. We didn't get to Apple TV. I had so many questions for you, Jason. We're going to have to pick this up on
S12 is just going to be like
show.
S11. Here, we're done. There's no change.
You don't think there's going to be more neural stuff for Siri AI? Enhanced whatever?
In this year's Apple Watch chip? No.
Yeah. Okay.
They might market that it has 4 neural engine, but then you'll look closely and it's that 11 had that. I think it's gonna be the same. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're in for or not the same, but it's it's 10% faster because we have a new manufacturing process. It's not going to be some major architectural design where it's a new. When did they do that last? When was that big leap? S8 or something like that?
Yeah, I would think it was the 8. Yeah.
And then we got 3 years of.
It was the 9. It was the S9 that did it.
Okay.
Right, Roman, am I right about that?
And then the 9, 10, and 11
things that you couldn't possibly know the answers to with that. Yeah, it was the S9. I just looked it up.
Okay. Right, because that's the cutoff for the WatchOS 27.
27.
And then the 9, 10, and 11 were the same chip with a different stamp on it, practically. And I think the S12 is going to be in that vein. I think it's going to be, at best, a very minimal upgrade that's not going to enable magical new capabilities. And then I think next year is supposed to be some kind of big thing. We keep hearing, this is the how manyth year in a row we hear about a big Apple Watch redesign upgrade thing happening. And that'll come with a new chip design, I bet.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's the chips. The roadmap's going to be a little funky for the next. Probably
it's going to be weird, and it's going to keep changing.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this 2 months from now, already all the new rumors have been validated. Everything we said, like it's all it's gonna keep changing on you.
All right, Roman, what do you got for us?
Okay, let's talk about Apple history. So this actually was on July 9th, 2008. Apple opened the App Store for the iPhone. It required an iPhone 3G and the iPhone 2.0 operating system. The App Store came after initially Steve Jobs said, nope, no third-party apps on the iPhone.
Yeah.
It's going to be an isolated thing. And then some internal pressure came around. I know Phil Schiller was kind of like a big advocate for an app store. I believe some board members too were kind of like, we need to have this as a great revenue opportunity.
I mean, the original iPhone had all these great apps like we had never seen before on a phone. And then they're like, oh, if you want to use anything that isn't these 10 apps, you have to go to like a Safari web page.
Right.
Yeah. Like, well, what the hell? It just sucks.
It was all about web apps. Yeah.
And they were none of them were good, and they were wonky and they were buggy and they didn't have the proper touch stuff. Like they were not good. No one used them. Yeah. No one cared.
Yeah. Steve Jobs really felt that web apps would be a proper solution.
I mean, they essentially are web apps, but they're designed nicely and they work in their little self-controlled little bubbles.
Yeah, they had a whole separate little SDK that gave people access to the hardware in a way you wouldn't get making a web app.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I looked up our original story, Roman, as you probably did too, but there were 552 apps at launch. Did you have that? Did I steal that from you?
It's okay. It's free. It's it's open information, so it's not like proprietary.
Yeah, but it's nice to drop it on the audience. They think that we're smarter than we are when we have these facts and figures.
Well, 135 of them were free apps.
Right. I thought they were way more than free apps. Yeah.
I thought there were more to that too.
The ratio really changed. Like everybody early on, there were no subscriptions. So, and I don't remember when in-app purchases started, but that was another year or two before that ever happened. So there was just a ton of like $1.99 apps.
Yeah.
And like $2.99 and $4.99.
That like even those like iBeer and stuff. I think those are like $1. Like you had to buy $1.
There were a whole bunch of things that were just like 99 cents.
Yeah, that's true.
Then it went on to be like a big revenue generator, and I think it was reported that Steve Jobs was actually kind of a little surprised at how well it did. The App Store kind of has this, it's great in terms of what you can do with it on your iPhone, but then there's a kind of this developer side, and I'm more speaking about, Apple's cut. And that's been kind of the thing that's been like a persistent.
It should. I mean, I'm not a developer. I'm just a consumer, but I don't think there's any reason why Apple shouldn't charge. I mean, maybe 30% is too high. I don't know, but they're providing the storefront. They're providing the back end, everything, the security, the delivery system, the promotion, everything. I don't think it's so bad that if you create an app, the Apple should take a fairly sizable portion of that revenue.
Yeah, that's common on all sort of app distribution storefronts. The argument is that you have no option.
Okay.
Like on a Mac or PC or anything else like that, there are different storefronts. If you don't like Apple's cut, sell it on a different storefront or something, sell it directly over the web. You can't do any of that on an iPhone. Yeah. That's the trick, is that you agree to Apple's terms about the cut, but also about content that you're allowed to do and everything else, or you just don't get to sell your app.
Yeah, I understand.
More than a billion customers. And so that's the argument more than that. It's not that it's 30%. It's that it's 30%, take it or leave it. You can't go anywhere else. Nobody can offer a better deal to you to distribute your app or anything like that. That's where they're getting in trouble with sort of antitrust stuff.
Yep.
Steam takes 30%, although all of these things are wonky, there's deals for small developers and the first 1 million copies and are at a lower rate and all the other whatever things that go on. But nobody complains about that because there's a million other ways to sell games or anything else on a PC other than Steam. If you don't like Steam, go to Epic Game Store, sell it yourself on the web, Humble Bundle, whatever you want to do.
You're right. That's the heart of it.
That's the heart of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Could we just quickly back up, Roman? The App Store was not available for the original iPhone that came out a year prior to the App Store. That's crazy to me. Like, I understand why logistically it might not work, but it's so crazy to me that if you bought an original iPhone, that wasn't cheap, mind you. They were $600 on contract. You were locked out of like the best part of the iPhone until you upgraded to a newer phone.
Yeah, you had to have an iPhone 3G.
3G, yeah. Which, listen, that was a massive upgrade over the original iPhone. That Edge network was at the time, it was like, oh, this is great. But once you realize how friggin' slow it was.
In 2008, when the App Store came out, what was the most recent iPhone? Was the 3GS out?
No.
By then?
No,
it was 08.
3G.
It was a year later.
You still
was later.
You basically had to have the latest
iPhone. You had to buy
iPhone.
a new phone, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. What do you either of you remember kind of what your favorite app was of the launch lineup of the when they launched the App Store? Is there an app that stands out to you as like, oh man, I did so much of that?
Twitterific.
Oh, Twitterific
was that a launch app?
I believe so. Yeah,
I think it was a launch
Tweetbot
app,
came a little bit later, but I think it was.
Tweetbot came later.
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't have a 3G. I bought the original iPhone and kept it until the iPhone 4. So I didn't have the App Store for like 2 years. But I also wasn't working for an Apple magazine.
Yeah, I was looking for. But
2008, Twitterific. If it wasn't a launch app, then it certainly came out after.
It came out, yeah. If it wasn't a launch app, it was soon after. But I remember Twitterific became like the most used app. Really quickly for me.
Really quickly. Yeah. That was really. It might have been for me too. God, I don't remember because there was no official Twitter app. You used the mobile website for that.
Right.
That was back when Twitter, you could use it like via SMS.
Yeah.
You could text to Twitter. Mine was Super Monkey Ball. Super Monkey Ball was the best. And just because like you could like tilt your phone to control it, and it used the 3D graphics and everything. It looked amazing. It was fun. I played so much Super Monkey Ball.
Do they still make that? They probably do. They probably have like a cooler version of it now.
It was originally a console game, and they've done a couple sequels, and I don't know if they've done sequels on the iPhone, but I don't think there's a really, really modern one. I don't think.
Okay.
I think it's one of those, even the sequel is one of those apps that like when they broke compatibility with 32-bit apps years ago, I think it fell away then. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure. Some Super Monkey Ball fan will write in and correct us, but
please do. But the App Store is one of those things that like once you used it for the first time, like you like this is huge. Like this is going to change everything. You could tell. It's surprising that Steve Jobs. I mean, he's such a visionary, and he's like years ahead of his time for most things. How he so stubbornly just didn't see it, especially when the iPhone had apps that were great. Like that was its biggest thing when it launched. Like its first party apps were incredible.
Well, and the analogy is right there. Like they told everybody it's iTunes for apps. It does what iTunes does. Right. You just like say I want this and it downloads it and it keeps it up to date and stuff like that. And it's like, like you're the iTunes people.
Sure. Why? Yeah. It just seems so obvious, but I'm glad that they quickly fixed it because
other companies did this. Not necessarily on the phones, but like consoles did this. Like there was Xbox Live Arcade was already out by then and stuff. So like this sort of digital distribution platform stuff existed. Yeah, it's weird that they didn't see it.
All right, so let's move on to Comment Corner. We have a couple messages, and then we have a follow-up message from a previous podcast that we'll wrap up with. So the first one is from John A. Strupp, 9250 via YouTube. These two first emails are in response to the Apple price hikes. John said, I fully expected Apple to increase their prices, but by this much?
Yeah, that was our reaction too.
Right.
I know.
And he says, nah, I am not interested in paying higher prices in a cost of living crisis. Plus, AI is not what your everyday person wants. Not one person I know wants or uses AI in the way that these big tech firms are expecting them to be used.
It's fair.
100% right. But unfortunately, our individual purchases, it's not going to matter unless, I don't know, 25 million people don't buy an iPhone next year. That has to move the needle.
I really kind of wonder, because we talked about how the regular iPhone and, of course, the E variant aren't coming out this fall. It's only going to be the Pros and up, right? Air, Pro, Ultra, and we expect a price hike. So if the minimal price new iPhone is like $1,100, do people just sit it out? Like, obviously, the first few weeks, there's a lot of pent up demand from enthusiasts. But like after that, do people just kind of go like, I don't need a new iPhone.
It's a good question.
I'm going to hang on to this old one for a while. Like,
especially since the pros are going to look very much like the existing ones. There'll be, there'll be some features and camera stuff, but they're very similar. And the Ultra folding thingy, it remains to be seen if people care about folding phones, for one. And for two, it's going to be like $2,500. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be like a Vision Pro thing where people are like, well, that's cool, but I'm not spending that much money.
Yeah, it's all the buzz for a few weeks, and then that's all the demand there is, and then it's really bad. It could be that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm glad I'm not taking over CEO of Apple in September, because man, this is a rough time.
Yeah, and for all you consumers out there thinking like buying a Mac and stuff, I mean, we'll continue to review them and tell you if they're good and stuff, but I don't criticize anybody who's just like, this ain't the time to buy a computer. Yeah, you're kind of right.
No, it's true. My son's going to high school in the fall. And I was talking to my wife last week, like, I don't know. Like, I guess I can get him a MacBook, but I wish I would have gotten it like a month ago, because they're a lot more expensive now.
Guess what? You're getting a Mac Neo because...
Right. It's like, extra $300 for a Pro, and extra $200 for an Air. Like, that's not small amounts. It's a lot.
And then the upgrades cost more. The storage and RAM upgrades cost more.
Yeah.
So and we always talk about how like the minimal amount they give you isn't enough and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a bad time to be buying a computer or anything from any company.
Nah, for real. And so their earnings are in a couple of weeks, end of this month. I'm really curious to see what their guidance is and how they kind of talk about future stuff, because they must see now, like that's how these things work. Like they can extrapolate and kind of tell what the next 3 months are going to look like. But Jason said, like, Apple's not unique; it's everybody.
Yeah,
but
no, it's a terrible time to buy a Windows computer or anything.
Right. But so it's different. The way Apple does it is different than all like HP and Dell. Like they have prices, they fluctuate, and Apple has a set price.
Yeah,
and now they're higher, and that's it. So.
That is so unusual, because usually when Apple raises prices, they wait for the new product to come out, and then the new product costs more. To raise prices on existing products is really rare for Apple.
Very rare.
Just so rare. Yeah.
The last time I remember them doing it was the iMac G4, that sunflowery one, went up $100 like a month or 2 months after because there was such demand and they had such a hard time keeping up with it. They raised prices by $100 and then they dropped them like, I don't know, 8 to 12 months later.
Okay.
I can't remember in like the modern era, Apple ever just arbitrarily raising, certainly not to this extent, but even on like anything, like it must have killed them to do it. And
there's got to be some accessory or cable or something that the price went up if we really looked, but on any of the main marquee products, like existing products going up any significant amount, the only exception to that is foreign prices have changed on products because the exchange rate changes a lot, and so then like the price in British pounds will change or something,
Right.
That's
sometimes they go down because of that.
Yeah, sometimes they go down. So, those fluctuate, but just for like the base U.S. price that they get up on stage and talk about, that's it for the whole time that thing is on sale.
Yeah.
And for that to change.
You know, if to not get anything, there's nothing new. You just pay more.
You just pay more.
To kind of just wrap up the pricing thing, Chris L. via Facebook said, I really hope it massively hurts Apple where they see a massive decline in sales, especially for Macs. People need to start holding onto their hardware for longer.
Yeah, I understand that
totally
sentiment
disagree.
also. And, like, I don't know. Like, I understand the consumer sentiment. Like, well, screw you. You raise prices on me. I hope you fail. Like, Apple, the last thing Apple wants to do is raise prices. They want, especially after coming out with that Neo, to raise prices 2 months later. Like, they absolutely had no choice. And you can say, oh, well, they make a ton of money. Yeah, they also invest a ton of money in the products that they're making, and they run retail stores, and they have all these employees. And you know, it's not like Tim Cook sitting on a mound of cash and diving into coins like Scrooge McDuck. They reinvest their money. So I mean, like the
company kind of is. Tim Cook isn't.
I know they have money.
Really
of course, they have money. I'm not saying they're broke. But I'm saying that they looked ahead, and if they had kept these prices for the next 12 months, they would be.
No, they wouldn't. They would make less money. They would make less money. They have, for ignoring what the company is worth, they have tens of billions of dollars in cash on hand, and they spend tens of billions of dollars returning money to shareholders in the form of stock buybacks. I appreciate the sentiment that for a company of Apple's size and scope to say, well, hey, screw you. Like, we're hurting here. I get that. Like, it seems it's untenable for a company to say, we're just going to make less money. Like, no, it can't happen. We'll raise prices. We can't just, now, it's in a crappy situation. Everybody's raising prices. It's really hurting, but I don't blame anybody who would say Apple's not going to go out of business if I wait another year to buy something and hang on to my hardware. And Apple is not immune from the thing where, like, a company of that size really kind of only understands their bottom line in a lot of ways. Like, they have to see the economic impact of what they charge people. And if that means that the stock goes down and it looks bad for them and everything, I mean, they don't need to start closing stores and all that stuff because of that. They can easily weather any of that kind of storm, but they need to have that kind of storm to see what's happening, to see what it means to people.
I mean, I think they know. Apple knows.
I think intellectually know, but do they make decisions based on that, or do they make decisions based on returning shareholder value and making more money and stuff like that? I don't know. On the other hand, they finally made a cheaper MacBook. Like, even at
$100 more, it's still cheaper. I got to tell you, I don't understand what stock buybacks are. I don't get it. I literally don't understand.
It's just literally Apple buying its own stock.
But why?
So to reduce the amount of, so the value of a stock is how many shares are available for people to purchase. Sure. So they're just buying back some of those available shares, so there are fewer shares available to purchase. Like, if your company's worth I'll try and make it really short. Like,
I'm sorry, Roman. I asked a question at the tail end of this thing. That's going to take us several minutes.
If your company's worth whatever your company's worth, and it's divided into 100 million shares of stock that you're selling out there, well, if you instead divide your company by 50 million shares of stock, then each share of stock is worth twice as much.
Okay.
Right? Like, it's just a share of stock is a piece of the company. If you just divide your company into a smaller number of bigger pieces, then everybody's piece is worth more. And that's what a stock buyback is. They're just
who do they buy them back from?
The open market. These are available shares. The same way you and I would buy. Where do you buy your Apple shares from? Well, people who own them and sell them. Well, they own the.
I thought that when I bought a share, which I don't do, but if I was to invest in
none of us own shares of Apple. That would be bad.
So if I buy a share of Apple, doesn't that increase the number of shares that are available?
No, they don't.
Like I'm buying a new share.
No, they don't generate a share for you to buy.
Oh,
you buy a share from somebody who is selling it, which is a financial institution.
So they can conceivably be a finite number of shares that are available.
There are. There always are.
I didn't know that.
That's what the stock buyback does. And when they issue new shares, it's dividing the company up into smaller pieces, and everyone's mad because their existing shares they own become worth less money. And a stock buyback's the opposite. They're taking shares off the market so nobody can buy them, and they're dividing their company into a smaller number of shares.
What do they do with the shares they buy? They just hold on to them, or they like get rid of them?
They're effectively destroyed. They're effectively don't exist anymore, right? They might because if they award them to companies or if they own them, then the company is still divided. Those many shares still exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the company's still divided into however many shares exist, So they're just taking them off the market. So everybody's share price goes up. Just by a function of you now own a bigger piece of the company. If you own 2 shares of if Jason Co. exists as 10 shares, there are 10 shares. Each share is 10% of Jason Co. And if you own 2 shares, then you own 20% of the company, and it's worth however much money. Well, if I go and I buy 5 shares of Jason Co. and rip them up, and now Jason Co. exists as 5 shares. Well, now every share is 20% of the company, and the 2 shares you own give you 40% of the company. So it's worth more, right? So just
I'd like to buy shares in Jason Co. Can I do
make that hundreds of millions? Yes, you can. Absolutely. It's not registered or anything like that, but just send me.
I feel like that would boost your morale.
I'll send you a certificate. It'll be great.
Well, while we're on the topic of Jason Co., our final email is a follow-up to the podcast. You guys talked about Siri AI and talked about using AI. Janelle, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, wrote in a longer email, but part of the email said this part that we're following up on. It said, something that needs exploring was when Jason mentioned that he really likes that AI is really good for splitting up the grocery bill with his wife because she doesn't pay for meat and he doesn't pay for beauty products.
I too question this.
I don't.
I guess it's Janelle says, I think I speak for a lot of listeners when I say we are all thinking we need to hear more about this arrangement. Please, please, please have a 10-minute section where Michael can explain his marriage dynamic with Jason.
I really think we shouldn't spend 10 minutes on it, but I'm happy to.
Please, let's do it.
I'm happy to explain it. All right. So my wife and I lived together in San Francisco in a little apartment for 10 years before we got married. And we always just split the rent, split utilities, all that other kind of stuff. And so when it comes to like grocery shopping and stuff, well, she's been a vegetarian since she was 12. She's not going to pay for half of my meat. Like if I buy turkey slices to make sandwiches or something, she doesn't want to support that. What?
So you were dating when you were living together, right? She wasn't just a roommate. So, I mean, I live with my wife as a girlfriend, boyfriend for 6 years as well.
Okay.
But as soon as we moved in together, we didn't split things. Like we paid bills. Like if I go to the store, so when I go to the store, I did or she did, whoever had the check in front of them. I don't know. Whoever typed it on the computer, whatever we were doing.
That's wild to me.
Really? Because I never, like I go to the grocery store and I'll say, so my wife does, she's not a vegetarian, but she doesn't eat red meat. So I'll buy turkey meat, ground turkey meat for her.
Yeah.
And ground beef for my son and I. But I don't give her the bill.
Right. So for the lion's share of our grocery bill, like, you know, it's all stuff we're like, we're both going to use this or whatever.
But even if we don't, I don't care.
Maybe not equally.
Roman, what do you do?
It adds up to a lot. it adds up to a significant amount of money.
Sure.
Meat's not cheap. And it's more it's also just an ethical thing. Like she doesn't want to support any of the meat industry with her money. She will not pay for it. And
so you have separate bank accounts and all that?
Oh yeah, we'd have no joint account.
Oh, well, that's interesting too. Do you own the house together?
Yes. We're both on the title and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's like I pay the mortgage and she has an auto pay to put money in my account for her half or whatever. But we split.
I would, all right. Do we have any polls? Because I got to assume that most of our listeners do it my way.
I know this is very, it's unorthodox, but no, we've always just split. We split utilities. We split the mortgage and stuff like that.
I got to tell you,
I usually auto pay that stuff, and then she has an auto pay to give me her half.
If I went to my wife and said, "Hey, can I get $50 for the gas bill?" She'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
We've had an electric car for years, so we don't buy gas. But
whatever.
My wife would be like, "Sure," unless I was the only one driving the car. She'd go like, "Oh, okay, you bought gas. How much do I owe you?" Actually, she would come to me and say, "How much do I owe you for gas?" Or vice versa. If she bought gas, I would say, "Hey, how much do I owe you for gas?" And
Roman, which way do you?
Our way is weird. I get it, but it's also about avoiding arguments. You're spending too much money. We're blah blah blah.
So just to be clear, both me and my wife eat meat. We don't have.
That's not.
So that's not an issue. So everybody has their own comfort level when it comes to money, right?
Sure.
Like for instance, my wife and I have different comfort levels with money. I don't want to say I'm stingy, but like I am much more interested in like
to say frugal.
Frugal, yes, than my wife. And it's not that my wife is, spending freely or anything like that either.
Of course.
Like, for instance, I'll do a thing where, like, I'll go on Slick Deals, and if I see, like, some shoes that I want that are, like, $30, I'm going to buy them because they're $30, not because... and then I'll save them, and then be like, when I wear out my shoes, I'll have a pair of shoes, where my wife is like, she'll buy a nice pair of shoes and she'll spend the money on it. There are different approaches there, and she's more comfortable with that. So
Roman's got a closet full of unopened shoe boxes.
We have to have another show about your Slick Deal shoes.
So that's just an example. And, my wife and I, we don't. So, like, she pays the mortgage, I pay the other bills.
Oh, you do? You separate it too?
Yes.
My wife and I have a single account. Both of our paychecks go into it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. My wife and I have separate accounts. We do have a joint account.
Maybe my wife does have a separate account and I don't know it. I should go ask her.
My wife and I have a joint account, but the only reason why we have the joint account is because we had to deposit the checks made out to both of us somewhere. Our tax refund.
Yeah,
checks
that's a
like
pain. If anybody ever sends us a check and it has both of our names on it, the bank is like, you can't deposit this. Right. The other person on this check has to be there with you, and that's a pain. But that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. So my wife and I never actually discussed that. We just kind of, we lived together for a while. We had separate accounts at that point, and we just never merged it. And so when it comes to like balancing out costs and stuff like that, who's paying for what, we do it totally informally. We don't have a formal. Yeah,
so do I. I mean, look at all the crap I bought behind me. Like, I just buy what I want. My wife does too, and that's it. Like, we don't. I mean, if it becomes an issue, we'll, big purchases, we'll obviously talk about.
Yeah. So
but
that's
if I want to spend $100 on a pair of shoes, man, I'm not going to Slick Deals.
Yeah, but you're a sneakerhead, so you're shopping for shoes anyway. No, and that's the way we've always done it. Is we're both kind of frugal, debt averse type of people with like crazy high credit scores and stuff because we don't run into debt and all that stuff. Yeah. So it works out okay. But yeah, it's just kind of to avoid arguments. Like she's got her money and she can spend it on whatever she wants. I have my money and I can spend it on whatever I want. And then all the things that are for both of us, whether it's like a home upgrade or the mortgage or the electric bill or groceries, we split it. It's just as a moral thing. As a longtime vegetarian, she's like, well, I'm not going to pay for meat, even if I won't eat it. Like, I support that, and stuff. So we kind of split up things. That's like, this is really just for me,
Is she like opposed to you cooking meat? Like, do you cook it separately? Like when she's not around, I guess is the best way to say it.
No, I can, like if we're eating together, but if we're eating together, I'll just cook something vegetarian. I'm not going to cook 2 meals. I'm not going to, and she is opposed to like using the same cooking utensils.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Right.
Yeah, I do that too. Like I'll make my wife's chicken in a different spatula than I will with.
Right, different spatula, different pan, no splatter. Right, like there's some rules. But yeah, if we're just having something else, then like she's not going to stop me from having a turkey sandwich next to her, having a veggie sandwich, or if we order takeout or something that I can have eat. She's not policing my diet in that way.
Well, this was fascinating.
Yeah, is it probably more than you ever wanted to know?
Listeners, please ask more things because this was so interesting.
That's more than you ever.
I just assumed everyone did it the same way. Like you get married, even when we moved in, like before we were married, we had a joint bank account.
A joint bank account is really common. Well, our way is weird. I agree. Even if some people are like, that's just the mortgage comes out, like we both put X money into that and the mortgage and the bills pay out of it or whatever. Yeah. Like we don't, I know that's really common. We just never did that because then you just don't get into that argument about like, I'm paying more, but we're just avoiding money arguments.
So should be noted that also Jason doesn't have kids, which also that takes away one wrinkle in that whole equation.
Yeah, that's also another wrinkle. We have pets. Yeah. That's about it.
See, I prefer having the separate accounts because it keeps me budget conscious. What I'm saying is my wife makes a lot more money than I do.
Oh.
And so if I had access to that, it's not that I would
imagine all the Slick Deal shoes you could have if you had access to that.
I wouldn't be on Slick Deals anymore.
That's why she's not on Slick Deals, right?
Yeah, it's not that I can't control myself, but I would sit there and go, well, we could do that because we have this, So it is kind of a way for me to like, since I'm only controlling my own money,
right.
I know, it's a way for me to be mindful of what I can spend. Anyways, that's probably more information.
No, that was great. Right. This is the best part of the show.
I mean, you guys asked.
Put a chapter here. Tell people to go to skip to the 12th chapter.
We need to run just like a new family finance podcast.
That's what I hope you enjoyed that. So
yeah, I'd love to know how many people are in Jason's camp. Maybe there's more than I think.
I think it's unusual. I think our arrangement's weird.
Is that just how your parents were?
I don't think
no, they had a joint account, but they made very different amounts of money. My mom
didn't work, so there wasn't really an issue. I don't think.
Also, my parents bought a house and grew up in a time when like women couldn't have a house by themselves and couldn't get a credit card without their husband's signature and nonsense like that. So it was a different world.
All right, Roman, if I ever need a loan, I'm going to your wife, apparently.
Yeah, right on.
All right. Jesus, it's 1:30. 1:30. It's an hour 30. It's actually 2:53 where I am.
Well, we skipped last week, so we
had to go long.
Catching up.
Getting it out of our system, sort of.
All right, I'm not doing the outro. So thank you for listening. No, I'm not even going to try. It's been too long. Thank you for listening. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but we will talk about something.
Public beta's out. Maybe we can talk about how the betas are going or something.
Roman, write that down. We'll talk about iOS 27 and macOS 27. Maybe I'll download it by then because I haven't installed it yet.
Yeah, if the listeners have anything they want us to talk about, in particular, like with the public betas that are out now, let us know. So
good. All right. See ya.